Hello everyone, my name is Naphtalie Variste and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Grace in It podcast.
Welcome to Grace in It podcast, where we walk with purpose and grace.
I'm very excited about our discussion today, and the topic we're going to talk about is Grace for Dads, honoring the men who show up. Before we even get deeper into our conversation, I want to start off by establishing the difference between being a father and being a dad. A father is the role that you receive when your child is born. It's biological. On the contrary, a dad is something you become through your actions. A dad shows up consistently, not just physically, but emotionally. A dad invests time, love, and attention. A dad leads, teaches, and protects. A dad listens, supports, and nurtures. A dad builds a relationship. It's not just a role. And why is this topic so important? Mother's Day, as we all know, in my opinion, I feel like receives a lot of attention, and Father's Day not so much. I wanted to change that narrative with our conversation today. And the first dad that I wanna honor really is my husband. He's the father to our handsome boy. I remember when we first started dating, and as we got closer together and we were contemplating marriage, we started having important conversations, and one of them was around how many kids we wanted, what was the vision for our family. And I can honestly say, from that conversation to us getting married, us finding out we got pregnant, to the birth of my son, I can honestly say I've seen him grow into what we were speaking about today, what a dad is. This is our first son, so we really didn't have a lot of experience of what it was to nurture a child. We had nieces, we have kids around us, but it's different when it's your own child, right? So there was certainly a fear of, this is a new role. How is that gonna look like? And when my son was born, he stepped into that role right away. I know at the beginning we faced, a few challenges as far as establishing a routine and getting to know what our son needed. But eventually he really learned quickly, and he shows up every single day. So babe, I know you probably watching this. I really wanna honor you. I do this privately all the time, but it was important for me, especially this Father's Day, to make sure that I publicly recognize all the hard work you do. And to top it off, I work night shift. So when I'm at work, my husband is the one that's there with our son. So it really takes that teamwork for us to make sure that we nurture our son and that he has a presence. That's really what's important with being a father. It's not just about being here, because you can be here but you're not present. It's about being present. It's about being intentional in spending time with your kids. It's about being intentional in playing an active role in their lives. I wanted to also share some statistics, right? I know some mothers have really difficult relationships with their baby's father, and some dads, because they didn't have a father figure growing up, it makes it difficult for them to really show up fully for their children. But I want to open up your eyes to realize how important your presence is in your child's life by sharing some statistics. So the first one is that approximately 80% of single parent households are led by mothers, meaning that most father absent homes are single mothers families. So research shows that a father's absence can significantly impact children in several areas. First one is education. So children who do not have a father's presence, they have a higher likelihood of lower academic achievement. In the behavioral and emotional well-being, those children have an increased risk of behavioral challenges, anxiety, depression, and substance abuse during adolescence. Financial stability. When a father is absent, that home has an overall lower income, with an estimated 30 to 40% of single mother households living below the poverty line. So what I can take away from that is that these statistics show how important the role of a father is, not just the financial provision, but through their consistent presence, guidance, and engagement in their children's life. So, and I know for some of us, our fathers, because of what they went through when they were children themselves, they really put a lot of emphasis of making sure that they provide financially for their children. While this is very commendable because it's important that your child is financially provided for, I don't want that to take away from the emotional well-being of your children, because a child can have all of the stuff that they need financially. You know, they have a place to stay, they have food, they have shelter. But if that emotional portion is missed, they will feel a sense of rejection. You know, like they're always looking for a sense of belonging. And that really can have a really negative impact on their overall well-being. So please, I really hope that those statistics provided a great insight into how important your role is. And as I'm reflecting on this Father's Day, I know a lot of us, we may have also difficult relationships with our dads. There may have been some stuff that happened and we may feel like we wish they showed up more for us. And I want to say, and this is why this podcast is titled Grace in It Podcast, because as human beings, we all have room for improvement, right? There will always be something somebody could have done better, but let's change that perspective. Let's look at the positive things that, you know, our fathers have done, right? I can honestly say that I wouldn't be the person that I am today without the sacrifices of my father. He worked overseas. We didn't get to see him much, but he was stepping into that role the best way he knew how. And for him was making sure that we had a proper education, making sure that what he went through, that we didn't have to go through that. So as I matured, I have learned to appreciate that. And wherever there's room for improvement, we've tried to have conversations. That way he realizes, yes, I really appreciate you showing up that way, but I missed having you home, and I miss you being at my graduation, celebrating my milestone. So we have reached that point now, especially for myself, where I just admire what he did. Yes, he was not there for a lot of the stuff, that a lot of my accomplishments, but I know that his intention was that I could reach those milestones. So he played a huge role in who I am today. And we have to also remember that we do not get to choose who our dads are. This is something that God, you know, in his great plan for us decided. And if you were born into a family, this is the family you were supposed to be in. So let's give our fathers grace this Father's Day. Let's celebrate them. Let's encourage them. Let's love on them and making them feel how appreciative we are for what they're doing, and especially if they are present, if they are there. And for those parents or for those dads who are not actively present in their child's life, no matter what it is that you are facing, really your child, what they need is you. They just need to know that you are there. They just need their daddy. So I encourage you this Father's Day to take a decision to be more present, to be more active in their lives, to make sure that they know that you love them. That will make a huge difference in their lives and in their relationships with you. I know earlier I mentioned how it was important for me this Father's Day to recognize my husband. He is a minister. He is a youth advocate. He's an public speaker, a motivational speaker, a producer, a playwright, right? But out of all those titles, my favorite one for him is that of a husband and a father. And this Father's Day is a little bit challenging because I am honoring him as my husband and the father of our son while he is grieving. About 2 weeks, suddenly his father fell ill and unfortunately he passed. So this Father's Day, I will be honoring him while he is grieving that loss. So, and this is really, really, really important for us who still have our dads to take the time, not just on Father's Day, but every single day, to appreciate what they do for us, to recognize them, because we just don't know. I know we hear this all the time, that life is short, but it really is. So take advantage of the time that you have now to spend it with your dad. And if you have a distant relationship with your father, if something happened years ago, maybe it's time for you to reconsider that situation and maybe reach out and see how that relationship can be mended. God forbid, they fall ill or they're gone. You don't want to deal with the what ifs. And I'm so glad my husband is in a space where he had the time to spend with his dad. He had the time to be there for him. And now he can rest. And I celebrate him. I honor him. Because if I can say that I have a great husband today and a great father, and I can see a great father in my husband, is because of the role that his dad played in his upbringing. I honor him today. He will be greatly missed, but his legacy will continue to live on through my husband, his other children, and their grandchildren. And I hope that this episode really touched a lot of hearts out there, that it makes people think again, not just the dads, but also the children. My prayer is that we can move past our misunderstandings and we can mend relationship, because like I said, life is short. Do not let the moment that you have now to reach out, have a conversation, hug it out, and then you look back years later, you're like, oh, I wish I had reached out to my dad, when it's too late. So the time you have now is really the only time you have. And I want to leave you with a few questions. And this is just for you to think about it personally. How can we celebrate and encourage the fathers who are faithfully showing up every day while inspiring those who could do better? If you are a dad today and years from now your son or your daughter were to talk about you, what would you like them to say about you? How would you want them to see you? And based on that answer, this is how you'll know what you should be doing better. So this is just questions just for all of us just to think about, and hopefully it makes us come to the conclusion of where we are and how we can do better. It's not meant to make you feel bad about yourself. It's meant to push you to do better. And as we close our conversation today, I want to encourage us to take a moment to honor the fathers and the father figures who have shown up, sacrificed, and helped shape our lives. While none of them are perfect, neither are we. Your mistakes may be part of the story, but so are the lessons, the love, and your presence. This Father's Day, let's celebrate the men who continue to lead, support, and pour into our families, while also encouraging those who can grow into the Father God has called them to be. Thank you for joining us on the Grace in It podcast. And remember, grace isn't about perfection. It is about showing up, growing, and making a difference one day at a time. Until next time, may you continue to walk in purpose and in grace. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we will continue to impact, empower, and uplift.